This is episode 252 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Control and Compound Financial. They teach real estate investors how to multiply their wealth using infinite banking strategies. For a complimentary wealth coaching session or to learn more, visit www.controlandcompound.com/Andrew Hines. Welcome back to the show. Today I have Paul D'Abruzzo on the show, and he was a great conversation. I just met Paul, obviously, for the first time here today, but he does work in the area. He's a realtor and investor with many properties. He's invested in the Caribbean as well as across Southern Ontario. He's got stuff Oakville, Burlington, Hamilton, Niagara region. And he's doing a lot of stuff. He knows his stuff, and we got into what's working today, what's not, what's Paul's angle on it right now here in Ontario, because let's face it, it hasn't been easy. Not to say I don't think there's a ton of opportunity. I really do, and I'm really excited about it. But, we dug into exactly that. We got into the weeds with this, and I think it's a valuable conversation, and I'm hoping you get something out of it too. So just before we jump in, I want to remind you that you can actually go right back to the beginning of this podcast. We started in 2019, going through the fundamentals in that first 10 episodes or so. Of course, I mean, fundamentals went on beyond that, but if you're new to real estate investing, I'd highly recommend you just go right back, go through those first 10 episodes, and then come on back to current, or if you feel so inclined. I know there are still people that go all the way through all 250 some odd episodes, which I commend you if you do that. But for some people who don't have the patience, I totally understand. If you want to just do those first 10 and come on back, get current, find out what's going on right now. Not to say we don't have incredible guests throughout the 252 episodes. On that note, if you could also take a moment and share this episode and the show with somebody you think it could help, that's how we keep this thing growing. When the times are tougher, which they have been, not as many people are interested in this kind of a show. So I really do rely on you. If you're getting value, please share this. Please do what you can, like it, leave a comment. All that stuff helps. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the episode with Paul D'Abruzzo, 252. Here we go. Hello and welcome to the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. I have Paul D'Abruzzo on the show. Paul, thanks for coming on over.
No problem. We made it.
Yes, we did. Okay, so you were connected to me through a mutual contact that we have. Yeah. I have no idea what your story is. So do you mind just kind of giving me high level what you do in real estate investing, and then how you got there, like where you started and what led you to here?
Yeah. That's what do I do now? So let's say our day-to-day business is really helping other investors acquire properties. So I'm a realtor base, but we only really work with investors. Like none of my transactions are residential in nature. We might be buying residential type properties, but none of our clients are moving in essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I get you.
I think you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that since 2010, so long time. So we have hundreds of clients now, and I also manage a decent sized portfolio. My wife and I do that. We have
your own properties.
Yeah, we have I think 16 properties of various sizes. Ontario, Oakville, Hamilton, St. Catharines, Welland. We have some international properties, which we can talk about soon. We do some Airbnb, some short-term rental. We have multifamily. We have some small to medium-sized land development projects. And we have some larger land development projects that we're working on. And our portfolio is a big part of our lifestyle. And that really lends to kind of what I do, helping investors also, because, we walk our talk. Right. It's not like I'm, teaching people from a book or anything. Where everything I do that's new and I learn, I translate to help kind of people do the same. Right.
So you're basically just telling people do what I do.
Essentially. I mean, it's funny. I learned this just the other day. You ever hear the saying? I'm sure you have. If you're giving someone advice, you would say, if I was in your shoes, I would do this. Mm-hmm. And this guy spun me. He's like, that's a terrible way to help people. He's like, that's a great way to give people advice. But if you're actually coaching them, it's better to say, if I was in your skin, meaning you and I do things differently, right? And I can't just walk into your shoes and, do things the way I would do it. I have to use everything that's unique about you, but add, my spin on it, right?
Interesting.
So it's not just do what I do. It's, we spend a lot of time coaching and mentoring people. And I'm not just saying that to make it cheesy. We do spend probably more time coaching and mentoring people than we do on the road. To figure
Every
out,
realtor who knows their stuff, who does investments, it ultimately ends up doing that for their clients to some degree.
Yeah. You have no choice because for us, we're really goal oriented. I think that's normal for any good realtor also. And we have a bit of a tagline that we use. I'm actually trademarking it right now, called Return on Lifestyle. So, I mean, you kind of if you've been around real estate investment groups or these big meetings that happen. And inevitably you hear that conversation like, oh, I have 3 properties, or I have 6 properties, or I do multifamily. And, in the end of it, I'm like, who gives a shit what you do and, how many properties you have? Is it helping you live a better lifestyle?
Yeah.
Or not?
I feel like now that real estate's not sexy anymore, like that's kind of where people are as far as a topic of conversation. It's weird because, back in like 2019, it's like everybody just wanted to own some real estate. Like, hop on the bandwagon, convert a duplex. Yeah. That was just all anyone talked about. And there were a lot of fanboys and fangirls for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. The fanboys and fangirls are all gone. And now it's just the serious investors left.
I'm waiting for the sounds terrible, but I'm waiting for the bottom 30% of realtors to disappear also.
Yeah. I don't think they will, because a lot of them just have the license like on the shelf anyway. Like they're not really doing anything with it. But yeah, maybe
one
lot
can
of them
hope and pray.
Maybe a lot of them will. Like they're the ones that'll do like a deal every 2 years, right?
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So which brokerage are you with?
Rockstar Real Estate.
You're with Rockstar. Yeah, I had a vibe that you probably were. So you're with like JP Gilbus and
yes. Yeah. I know JP really well.
Yeah, he worked a lot with a friend of mine in London. He's bought, like, his clients have bought a couple of my houses.
Yep.
Yeah. So and there's other people there I know there as well. So where do you guys? I mean, here's a great conversation for today. Like an Ontario realtor focused on investments. What is it that you're focused on? Like, what's working for deal acquisition now? And I know there's stuff that works, so I'm just curious what your take is.
So total real bread and butter stuff. So multifamily works, not as well because of where the rates are. But our analysis says rates can't stay where they are for like a long period of time. When I say long, I mean 3 to 5 years. I mean, it just can't.
Yeah, they're likely to come down. And I just had a guest on recently who changed my outlook on it a little bit because he said that when an economy hits recession, the goal unofficially is to create a soft landing, which means start lowering interest rates as soon as you sort of have that straw that broke the camel's back incident, which is obviously we're hitting recession now.
Yep.
So a lot of people are speculating next year we're going to have rate cuts. Like I think universally, most financial institutions are predicting that. But whether that happens or not, I mean, it wouldn't be the last.
You can't predict it.
It wouldn't be the first time one of these guys got on screen and made an ass of themselves. So
yeah. I don't take anything they say seriously, but
yeah,
from what I've seen in my limited lifetime on Earth and studying all this stuff, and we're history buffs of money. I mean, me and my people in my close circle, we're gold bugs, we're silver bugs, and we're students of the history of money. And every time we run into a bigger recession like this, where the numbers are just absolutely out of this world, similar to 2008, there's always a black swan event. Always is. So in the back of my mind, I'm waiting for something to capitulate, the straw that broke the camel's back. They need a reason to lower rates. It's not like, because if they just start automatically lowering rates, they're almost admitting that what they did was wrong.
Well, don't you think that when you hit we're officially in recession, that is at least part of a justification?
I don't, because we've been in a recession. They're just not admitting it.
They won't admit it. Well, I mean, it depends on like how you look at reporting. I mean, if you reported inflation to what it really is, we wouldn't have actually had economic growth, so we would have been in a recession.
Sure.
I mean, there's so many ways they fudge the numbers.
Right.
And I actually find myself not wanting to talk too much about the nitty gritty with all that crap, the financial systems, because they're also full of shit.
They are.
The system is stupid in so many ways. Like the let's just go back to the general idea that the only way to combat inflation is to fuck with interest rates. Like, pretty much that, right? Like, mess with interest rates. What else do they do?
What was central bank? Well, they control liquidity. So
Yeah,
they control.
they can buy up bonds, they can sell off bonds, but basically, ultimately, messing with interest rates.
Yeah. What's one of the mechanisms? The other one is to restrict access to money. So
Yeah, like qualifications.
qualifications,
that,
right? Yeah, when there's less money
Yeah.
in the system, it just
Yeah.
you get a bit of a deflationary period, and then inflation has a chance to absorb into the system, and then hopefully they can start lowering again, right?
Think about what they could do though, like if you just focused on production. Let's do everything we can to stimulate supply right now.
Stop trying to make sense.
Stop
Andrew.
being logical.
Stop being. We're not going to figure that out.
And this is why I just, like, every time I'm about to pull a Dan Foch and start getting into the weeds, and I do a little, but I'm like, okay, I can only do so much of this because I think they're also full of crap.
Yeah, no,
not Dan. I'm just saying, like, politicians and these guys.
We're focused on multifamily because, good, bad, or ugly in the marketplace, multifamily is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to work okay. It's going to work great, or it's going to work amazing.
Yeah,
It's going to work.
yeah.
if you do it
Multifamily, like, if you think about fundamentally what it is, people always need a place to live, and if you're not doing like the Ritz and you're doing like very middle class rentals, like, where is the demand going to be for that in 5 years? It's going to be there. 10 years. I mean, you're in Ontario, you're dealing with horrendous landlord rules, but if you can structure the deal that there's enough cash flow there, you have the money to pay for that.
Correct. And what else? We don't do much short-term rental unless we're in an area where the zoning specifically allows it. There's too much risk with municipalities changing the rules and screwing people over. We're doing land deals, although most people cannot. The average person isn't walking into a land deal, but there are some people who are more advanced and want to learn and grow. We are doing some land deals, and that's really it right now, to be honest with you.
No, dude, it sounds like you're busy. Now the Airbnb side of things, my estimation is that it only really is working now in areas where vacation rentals were already a thing. Like Hamilton Airbnb is, like, obviously they're trying to regulate that out, and along with any other city, like, they're pretty much just, it has to be your home no more than 180 some odd days a year. In other words, don't do it.
Yeah.
So, so knowing that, are you thinking, vacation rental areas?
Yeah, in Ontario specifically, we're only going to go there if we know the zoning specifically allows for it. So, for example, parts of Niagara Falls in that tourist zone, we know it's allowed. There's no risk.
Lower risk, right? There's always a risk, but
yes,
I think there's a lot of logic in that. Like, you look at, hey, where have they been doing this a long time? Where is tourism part of their lifeblood? Those places are going to be more likely to, if they've already been allowing it, continue to.
Correct. Nicer cottage areas. I mean, I think it's a bigger risk, but the chances of them wiping out every other short-term rental are pretty slim.
Yeah. Like, if you think like Muskoka areas and stuff,
yeah,
are they going to stop people from doing it? I mean, it'd be hard to think, because cottage rentals are what bring people to the area.
The smarter thing they'll do is just regulate it and collect
they
more
do,
taxes.
right? They're collecting taxes, and I've seen that in Grey Bruce. They basically started adding in like a hospitality tax. So they weren't regulating it before, and in the last couple of years they brought it in. They put in a tax on it.
Yeah, that's okay. But to do Airbnb, we're not Florida. Like this, you can't just. I don't think it makes sense to just buy an Airbnb here in Burlington because it makes sense. I don't.
Yeah.
It's
funny you say Florida is like it's like the Wild West. I don't even think it is.
Yeah.
Maybe comparatively.
Comparatively, but for us to do Airbnb on a random property, we want there to have insurance with it too. It has to work as a single family or as a duplex also.
Yeah.
And then you have a backup plan.
Yeah, your plan A and B, right?
That is okay.
I'm with you 100%. Yeah, to go in Ontario into a market that doesn't presently have Airbnb regulation and bank on that is insanity.
Yeah. So that's what works. There's still people with money who want to get involved in real estate, and they see this time as they're getting a deal. If you're comparing it to the peak, but where the other question is, where else do you put your money? Like, do I buy stocks? Do I trust the government and buy bonds? You know,
Well, your yield's pretty low there.
right. So the alternatives don't make sense. Do I give it to the banks and take 3%
Yeah.
on a GIC and lose money? Like it doesn't. So
Yeah, like, and that's the age old question, and so you'll find people doing some are doing um, like private mortgages or stuff like that, like something that you can kind of get your money back out and be liquid, and then when the time comes, buy more real estate. But I think like if you're not at least somewhat active, you're not going to be able to, like you said, like where are you going to put your money? Like if you go in and you can be active in real estate right now and do forced value adds and make 20, 30, 40% of your money.
mm-hmm.
But if you're just looking to set it and forget it, you're not going to make that much. With just a turnkey rental, is that really working in your estimation?
There are some of the student rentals are working there because the incomes or the per room rents in places like London and especially Hamilton and McMaster have just like they're just bonkers bananas skyrocketing.
After I sold all my London ones, the rent went from one of the ones I sold, I had it at 860, was like record breaking rent.
Yeah.
And then I sold it to my friend who then re-rented it for $12.50 a bedroom.
Yeah. Right now they're getting $12.95, $12.50.
Like as standard around London?
Yeah.
That's
I wouldn't
absurd.
say standard, but the ones
that'd be like the nice ones.
Nice ones, but the ones that are more 1-to-1 bedroom to bath.
Like it's which is all what I did. Yeah. So I sold one on Sunset. That was like you could stumble onto the campus. Mm-hmm. And that one. Oh man, it was a good one. Yeah. There's a hint of regret there, but I mean, I made the decision I made. Kind of a good thing I sold when I sold. But I mean, I think there's a buying opportunity to come back to London. Now your construction costs, if you want to add those en suites, would be prohibitive. But if I were to do it again, I'd be more interested in a really nice product that kind of converted more over to a family rental more easily. Those en suite where you had one bedroom, one bathroom for every single one. Like a family would be probably a little weirded out by that.
Yeah, it's not set up.
It's not set up for
It's
family.
always going to be a student rental.
Yeah, and I actually, from an appraiser standpoint, a lender standpoint, a number of reasons, although it's great for students, I'd like from an investor standpoint to be a little bit more hedged against what if Western, on the next quote unquote pandemic shuts down, because that was one of my concerns is I saw that they could just close the school, and I had some students actually vacate and say, I can't pay rent here if we're not going to school. Mm-hmm. But they replaced and it was never an issue, and I never missed a month of rent.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about student rentals. You don't deal with any of that crap.
Almost no vacancy.
Yeah, and you don't deal with the crap, the landlord-tenant stuff, like not paying rent. With my product, never dealt with that. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we got very tangent here. Yeah. So student rentals are still working, you figure, eh?
Yep.
What would so like give me an example of something you could do in London right now?
We're looking at one that's a 7-bedroom. It's a 5 and 2. We had the seller converted the basement to a ADU, accessory dwelling unit.
And it's legal 7?
He's got a license for 5.
Okay, and then just have like a den and an office.
And then the basement doesn't have a license, but kind of don't need it because the ADU I learned cannot have a license.
Oh no!
So the ADU in London can't have a license. If it's a duplex designation, it can. Just learned this property.
Okay, wow, I didn't know that.
But I don't like. Why would I need? I don't need. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. I don't exactly need to rent it to students anyway. Mm-hmm. Or I could rent it to 2 students who just happen to be friends and living together on one lease.
Well, I mean, I guess with their license, they want every unit. Well, it's just every property to be licensed, right? They just want your property to be licensed. Yeah, they're going to come in and inspect it. In London, they've got the whole thing with 5 bedrooms, but they don't restrict how many people can be on a lease. So I looked at it like this, and I never actually did this, but this would have been my position. It's just like, hey, I've got 5 bedrooms, a den, and an office. And what those students do with that is up to them.
Exactly.
Hey, it isn't my position. I thought they were sharing rooms. They very well could be.
Yep.
Even if I didn't think that, it's not my place to tell them where they got to go.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's go through that 7 bedroom effectively. And what's the average rent per bed?
1,000 a room.
So $7,000 a month. Man, that's a little bit different than it used to be. Mm-hmm. Okay, so and then taxes on something like that are going to be like what, $5,000?
Yeah, it's like 48 something.
Yeah, okay, and then insurance on that is going to be like more like $3,000, right?
In today's numbers, yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. Maintenance, I like to just keep around 5%. Utilities on something like that, it's going to be more like $350 a month.
Yeah, $350, $400 a month.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so we'll say $400 conservatively. times 12, and then you're gonna have management that you're gonna pay down there.
Yep. Yeah. So that's 7-8%.
7-8%, yeah, with leasing fees. I figured they'll turn over on average every 2 to 3 years. Depends. Like if you're really good stuff, like you could stretch it 3 years.
Yep.
So, which is the ideal. And then so landscaping and snow. Tenants probably do their own snow, but landscaping's covered.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be what, like $700 a season.
Yep.
Yeah. And then any cleanings offered or nothing like that? No.
Nah.
Okay. And then internet not offered? Probably not, right?
No.
Yeah, I never did. Some cities are different though. Some cities you've got to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So what would it cost to get something like that?
So it's $950.
So I got like a 6.7% cap rate on something like that.
Yeah.
If you did 30-year, well, can you get a 30-year? Yeah, you probably could. Like a CIBC 30-year or something like that.
30-year you can do.
Will CIBC still do them? Or not really?
CIBC is wacky. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
They used to do them great. And then they changed the way they calculated it and it
They
stopped
fell
working.
off a map. Yeah.
Yeah. So who's the go-to these days?
RBC will do them.
RBC will do them? Yeah, they'll go up to 80%, right?
Yeah.
Loan to value. So they'd be somewhere around what, 5.25 right now, or 5.5.
Interest rate?
Yeah.
Is 6.5.
Yeah, bond yields just dropped a little bit, but it might be a little less now if you're comparing to like last month or something. But okay, we'll do 6.25. So does it cash flow? Well, somehow it does. Yeah, I got like $324 of cash flow at a 6.25% interest rate, 80% financed, 760 is the mortgage. So on a 950 buy.
Yeah. See, to me, it's a small miracle.
The small miracle. So I'm one of the few people saying like, man, nobody's paying attention to Ontario right now. Like there's going to be some great deals coming around. Like everybody's just fed up, like looking at the US. And here's me just starting like, and I was in the US before anybody was really like focused on it. Not anybody, but like before it became the thing. And now I feel like it's time to pay some attention on Ontario again. Because we're at like a 25% discount on the highs, pretty much.
Yeah, from the peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 20-ish. Yeah, depending
20
where
to
you
25,
are.
depending on where.
Yeah.
So knowing that, and what do you make of this then? Knowing that, and I just saw this chart put out there that something like, what is it, 80% of mortgages, fixed rate mortgages, are at like 2.85% on average. Or sorry, the average. No, so it's the average fixed rate mortgage right now is 2.8%. And the market rate for new mortgages at 5-year fixed is like 5.3 right now. So every year, 25% of those mortgages is going to mature.
Yeah, by 25, 26.
Yeah.
about
So
80%
each
of
year
them.
we're gonna see like 25% of people renewing into much higher mortgages, which is going to suck up additional funds from them. So they're not going to have as funds. So the spending into the economy is going to go down from that. So we haven't even begun. This is the sentiment, and I've been saying this. We haven't even begun to feel the effects of these interest rate hikes, unless of course they bring it back down. And so what do you make of all that? Where do you think we land with all that?
I mean, yeah, we're back to our earlier conversation. Like trying to predict what they do is impossible. I mean, I think you just got to prepare for both scenarios and make the best of it. If you're liquid, I'm getting my money into assets that I feel are going to survive and thrive, not just keep up with inflation. Right?
Do you think student rentals fall into the thrive or survive?
I mean, worst case, survive.
Yeah.
Best case, thrive.
Yeah, best case, thrive. I mean, people, like the old sentiment is economy's up, people go to school. Economy's down, people don't have a job, so they go back to school. So, it's relatively economically hedged.
Yeah, or land. If you know the game and you know where to go and you know what you're doing with the land stuff, it's pretty hard to lose.
You're talking about land development?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think because you can build in so much margin for just changing the use of the land, right?
Correct.
Like you don't even have to build it. You could just sell zoned, ready to go land.
Yeah, it's just a hedge. Like I'm thinking worst case scenario, if they keep rates up and there's a deflationary cycle and asset prices come down. Like if I have good land in a good area that's developable in Ontario with the kind of population increase we're having, with the kind of demand for housing we have, with the government saying we need 1.5 million homes in 10 years and all that nonsense. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard. You have to try and lose. Like, you have to try.
Yeah, you're just saying like if you own the extra land, like policies are going to come into place to allow you to develop it even easier, knowing we need it.
Yes.
Our biggest hurdle with all of that is some of the red tape, and then of course trades. Finding enough trades where we can drive the cost of labor down.
I think, from all the developments I've done, trades are solvable. Like, sometimes they get busy. Now we're getting calls like, hey, you guys got anything coming up in 6 months? Like, they're getting slower.
Oh yeah, they are. Like the thing I've noticed being in the business is just like people show up or they call you rather than you call them constantly. Hey, when can you get here? Now they're calling you. Hey, we got an opening next week.
Yeah.
You want us to come over?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's helping.
Yeah.
I've been talking to people recently. This has been a topic that it used to be possible to build a house in 2 to 3 months. Like that was a thing. That actually happened. My dad built a house in 3 months over the summer.
Really?
My dad was a school teacher, and we moved into Woodstock area. And over the course of the summer, like we probably started, in May, like broke ground, and by then he got off school and he like did a lot of the work, and then by September we're in. August we're in.
Yeah, no chance now.
I used to do like an addition closed in, like the students would leave, and May 1 I'd start construction. I'd have students moving in September 1. So we'd be doing like partially gut the place, build an addition, put all the bathrooms in, close it in, finish it, and people moving in.
Yeah.
It is doable in the right circumstances.
Yeah, if you got everything lined up and all the pieces there. Yeah.
And if you have your own internal team to do a lot of it, that really helps. Like a couple of subs, but then a really good internal team that can just crush.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we went through one successful example. I like that. I love student rentals from a management standpoint. I think they're great. Give me an example of a multifamily that might work.
Well, I haven't found one in the last couple of weeks, but one from, let's say, September, we found a nice fourplex in Hamilton. And I mean, the key with the multifamily now is getting the units all vacant on closing.
Okay.
So we can set market rents.
That's not that common, but yeah, if you can find it.
Yeah. Or, I mean, if it's a 4 units, for example, getting 2 vacant, if they're all occupant, or 3 or something, but getting them all at, old rents, that's not going to work. You won't even be able to finance it. The banks.
It would be tough. Yeah. You'd have to go in, close cash, do the cash for keys things. Like, I don't imagine you're working with that many clients who want to do that kind of thing, right?
It's not exciting to do that right now. Not when the market is kind of where it is.
Like, traditionally, I've understood the Rockstar guys to be more, you want that more turnkey, like something that they can buy that's managed, that is more like hands off. So slightly better than, just throw money into passive, mortgages or something.
I have a team of guys and girls that work for me. We're not really like that. It's what works for you.
So you're the roll up your sleeves, not just that.
For some.
Well, that's going to be like your doctors and your lawyers who just don't have the time, don't care to have the time, right?
Yeah.
Like they just want set it and forget it. But then you've got the other people who are active, flippers, whatever. Like they're guys who add value to real estate.
Everyone's different. I'm full of cheesy analogies. The cheesiest one I got that most people understand is, let's say you and I walk into a men's suit store. We're going to get some custom suits.
Yeah.
So we're both going to walk out with a custom suit, but mine might be a double breast.
Yeah.
Yours might be a single breast. Mine may be a long jacket. Yours might be a short jacket.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, the way you build your portfolio is the way you build a custom suit. It's got to work for you, right? So the guy I'm taking out tomorrow, he's got a great job, but he doesn't want to be there for too much longer. He wants to be out in 5 years. So we got to get his money working for him, and he needs cash flow, but he also needs some investments where he can do a traditional value add. He can be able to pull some value out. So he's looking at something where we can do either a garden suite or a basement suite, or have a lot beside it where he can do a development, but also get a second property that's more traditional multifamily where he can get that cash flow going. Right. And that's not going to fit for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So based on those goals, we tailor the portfolio.
Of course. Yeah. So, and I like that because it's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
So say I came to you and said exactly that. I want to quit in 5 years. I got a job right now. In 5 years, I don't want to be there anymore. What are you going to tell me to do?
get access to as much money as possible,
Yeah.
so we can buy the properties you need to get there. So
Yeah.
what we do is just work backwards. So the part of our coaching and mentoring that we do is, if that's the goal, we have to figure out how much capital, how much wealth, how much cash, and how much cash flow, how much income you actually need from your
To
portfolio
replace the job.
to replace it, right?
Yeah,
So
you
we
start
need
with the end
something
in mind.
tangible.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we just simply work backwards. And as
Yeah.
we're shopping for properties, the question is, does it
Yeah.
help us get closer to our goal? Yes, great. If not,
Yeah.
we're moving on.
Yeah, does it fit within your competencies, what you're capable of doing as well? You gotta look at all of that, and see the overall fit. So yeah, for sure. Hi friends, I just wanted to take a moment away from the episode to tell you about my brand new structured coaching program. This is the first time I've ever offered a structured coaching program where we'll have regular meetings in addition to an intro call to go through what your goals are and help you get on a plan to achieve those goals within real estate. So if you've followed me for some time and you feel that I would be a fit for you to help you achieve your goals in real estate based on my skill set, based on the topics we cover on this show, I encourage you to head over to my website, andrew-hines.com/coaching, and fill out the questionnaire so that we can schedule a call and figure out if it's a fit for us to work together. Let's face it, most people could benefit from a second set of eyes and ears going over their strategies, different deals that they're looking at, and helping to springboard ideas back and forth. This is a program that's exactly for that. So if you're looking to build confidence in what you're doing in real estate investing and get very clear on what it is you're trying to accomplish, this might just be the program for you. Take a moment, fill out that questionnaire, and let's schedule a chat. So for sure, starting with the end in mind and working backwards. But if say you come up with, oh, this person's going to need $10,000 a month, like to really make sense, to quit their job, $10,000 a month. They've got access to, $500,000 on their HELOC, and they got another bunch, $500,000 in investments they can liquidate. Is there a plan that makes sense that, comes to mind where you say, okay, we're going to start with this type of property and we're going to, do this over the next couple of years, and then we're going to do it again, and then we're going to
immediately we'll go to some kind of multifamily, whether it's more residential, triplex, fourplex kind of thing, or commercial. It depends on who the people are and how much you're willing to take on right away. But we'll probably start with multifamily and then grow from there. Either grow with more multifamily or start already adding in other assets that are higher cash flow. But to be honest with you, I for that kind of person who needs $10,000 a month, to retire from their job, trying to get that from your portfolio, I think it's fool's gold.
In 5 years is a tough ask, right?
I think even if your portfolio does generate $10,000 a month in cash flow, it's fool's gold. Like, you can't realistically, and I did this when
live off of it,
when I retired from what I did. Like, you can't just go in your portfolio and rip $10,000 a month out of your accounts. Like, you need money to pay for the roof and the furnace and their vacancy.
Oh yeah, like so, you would literally need $10,000 after your life cycle maintenance allowance. Like, you would need. So this is, and I would be realistic about that number, like, because for me with all my properties, I'd let them get to like 20 grand in the account for every property. And that's like, okay, now I can start spending. Like, there needs to be like 20 G's there for everything.
My system, the way I coach people is, yes, you need the cash flow, and you can take some, obviously, if you need it for living expenses, when and if you retire. Right? When and if you retire. But your portfolio, once you grow it big enough, should be generating future profits and now profits at the same time.
100%.
Future profits being the cash flow from the student rental. I mean, now profits being money goes in, money comes out with profit, a flip, a development.
Sure.
When you have both of those things coming in at the same time, it's very easy to live off, or sorry, not very easy, but much easier to actually live off your portfolio.
Yeah, so a hybrid solution, I call it now money, medium money, long-term money. And I didn't coin that. I took that from somebody. But it makes perfect sense. You need all three working. So, how you define medium and long-term, that's subjective. But now money is pretty clear. What am I going to put food on the table with for the next 6 months? And then medium money, next 2 to 3 years, and then long-term money next 5 to 10. You could be doing developments for the 5 to 10. You've got your, say, flips, or you've got your active job. Or I'm a big fan of work in the industry. Be a realtor. Do something where you're ear to the ground. Like, you can hear the buffalo coming. You know where the opportunities are. And you know it because you live and breathe it, because you work in that industry. So become a property manager, real estate appraiser, realtor. I think realtor's better than an appraiser, but hey, there's ways to do it in both if you really want to appraise properties. and I personally think property managers, although people consider that work like generally not that great, I think it's one of the best opportunities to get access to great deals on properties.
I do. It's yeah. For me, it's a tough job, man. Like it's when the property is going well, the investor's the hero, and when it's all going to shit, it's all the property manager's fault.
Yeah, it's a dog's breakfast.
I feel bad for them, honestly.
It's a dog's breakfast, which is why not a lot of people want to do it, and why Hamilton property managers are very well compensated. Can you imagine, like the amount of people who just like professional tenants don't pay, like, but if that's your business and you've set your cash flow and your fee structure up to justify you spending the time on it, you shouldn't be upset about it. Like, I think the number one problem with people who are crying about the Ontario landlord issue and having tenants that aren't paying, the number one problem is that they're buying properties that didn't have enough meat on the bone. They couldn't afford to lose a tenant or have a tenant not pay. So if you can't, and I know that's hard in Ontario, obviously, but this means you need to diversify. You need to make sure you structure your situation so you've got that cash you need to be able to weather the storm and sleep at night.
Yeah,
you gotta be able to sleep at night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's I mean maybe I'm totally biased about this, but like if you don't have a network that keeps reminding you about these things, and if you don't have a mentor, or you're not getting coached, like I think you're at a disservice. If you really want to use real estate to get ahead in life and not just have a couple investments, if you really want to use real estate to get ahead, you need to have other people who are ahead of you in the game helping you out, or you're not going to go anywhere. Yeah,
I consider that very, very important. Like have the people that, like, I've got some great business partners and we're all real estate minded and we do real estate together and we help build each other up. And I agree with you completely. Mentorship, go out to meetups, be around people, do work sessions with people. I actually find that really productive. Like, we'll do a Friday for our camp. We have a camp and a resort up north, and we do like every other Friday right now. We're doing like work sessions where we just all get together and work on our projects, everything we need to do. And I find it so productive, and we share ideas and we build each other up, and it's like great.
Yeah,
you got to have that kind of thing in your life.
Yeah, you need people around you. It's not there's no I in real estate. It's a team sport. We've all heard these cheesy sayings, but like it's true. If you're trying to get to the next level, the groups, the networks, and somebody who's ahead of you kind of helping you out.
Yeah, so it is a team sport. You're absolutely right. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to win, and real estate investors are really helpful to each other. Like, have you ever met, like, I don't know if that anywhere else, all real estate investors are like happy to share. Yeah. Well, not all, but a lot are.
Yeah, most are.
Yeah, which is weird because a lot of other professions, people are like, no, I can't tell you my secrets.
Yeah, they're secretive.
I can't tell you my secrets. Okay, so what are you excited about right now in Ontario, or are you looking outside of the country or province?
Well, I'm heading to Florida at the end of the month for like the third time now to check out a different area and scope out some properties. It's the sexy talk right now. Yep. I don't know that I'm gonna find anything that kind of meets my own expectations, because I'm going there to look for myself also. But a lot of our clients have a desire to have some exposure to other markets. I know Florida is a sexy talk, but it all kind of wraps in there. They want exposure to the U.S. dollar. They like the Florida thing. You know, if they can go down there and use the property themselves, it's obviously very attractive.
I think that's a big thing for a lot of people. So you're thinking Airbnb play?
It's hard. I have 20 people who would buy a good Airbnb in Florida right now. Do I have 20 properties to sell them? I don't have any. Right. So I need to, I'm going down there more to build relationships with people who can give me more access to properties than anything else. Right.
I think it's one of those things where you're going to spend a lot of time talking to local managers and stuff, and like finding out what's reasonable. What's hilarious is an old friend of mine. He came on the show, and he had one rental property in London and just decided, hey, we like Florida. We want to have a place in Florida. So he'd never invested in anything else. Goes and buys an Airbnb in, I think it's near St. Petersburg. And cash flows with it, uses it for like 6 weeks out of the year, still profitable even with him taking those 6 weeks out. And manages it from afar and did it all himself. And I'm like, and he's not in the real estate networks. And I was just fascinated by that because usually you'll hear stories like that, but not like guys who are just kind of foot in, foot out the door on real estate. Like not really a passion, not really something that he does all the time. Testament. The reason I share that is it's doable. Like, but yeah, finding the numbers that work, that's going to be the part where you're going to have to do a little trial and error, I think.
Yeah. So we want to have built some relationships there. And so, yeah, we're checking out Florida. Ontario, I mean, super exciting. There's there a new income stream? No, not really. Just bread and butter stuff. We're after the multifamily. We talked about all that kind of stuff.
Do you do any like creative acquisition strategies? Are you guys out of the box, like throwing vendor take back mortgages in there, things like that?
For the right person, that kind of stuff happens more on commercial and land for us. Like we're not dropping letters or doing door knocking or any of those kind of strategies. I'm not saying they're bad. It's not something we do. I mostly focus on having relationships. That's what, out of 10 deals that I do, I mean, for clients, probably 3 or 4 of them are off market. And that's from knowing Andrew Hines, from knowing this guy, knowing the property manager, and the rest is from MLS. You'd be surprised how much stuff there's on MLS.
There's deals on MLS. Yeah.
Land deals, yes, a lot of those are off market.
Yeah, talk me through what you're doing in land.
A lot of infill for smaller stuff. So, knock down a house, build two. Are
you seeing a lot of opportunities for that?
Right now, no. For the last 4 or 5 years, yes. I did about 4 projects like that we finished. I had 3 on the go. And it was knock down one, build a semi. And then this is very early, we convinced St. Catharines to give us an ADU in each of the semis.
Nice.
So we had basically 2 duplexes, right? Or 4 units, whatever you want to call it.
4 units.
So those worked out really well. And now we scaled since this bill. What was it? Bill 23?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So I have a project that's, instead of 3 townhouses, it's 3 triplexes.
Really? Yeah, because you're going to get 3 in each one? Inside the footprint?
Inside the footprint.
So you don't have to put anything in the backyard. Wow. Like that really does change the outlook.
It does. Right?
I mean, I kind of feel sorry for the tenants because they're not going to be able to like grow a garden or anything. But
no, they will. I mean,
if they share the backyard.
Just the way that it's a 125 deep lot, and I mean, there's more than enough room to separate.
Do separate backyards for 3?
Yeah.
Just little tiny ones.
Absolutely.
Or you could share one. I feel like people don't want to share a backyard though.
No.
Yeah.
No, but it can be done.
Yeah.
I find adding the outdoor space, and I was doing that with my duplex conversions, just cutting out a little bit of space for the tenant, and they loved it. They loved it. It got me an extra $50-$100 a month in rent. And
yeah, I've done that too. Just split it right down the middle, and I had separate access for both. With 3, it's going to be harder, but if you're designing it from scratch, you can find a way.
Even if I could only do 2 of 3, it's still super valuable.
Yeah, one of them doesn't get it, but the other 2 do. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's a good project. We have another one that's a 9-unit conversion. It's actually a triplex, but on a corner lot. So I'm getting 3 townhouses in the front, each with an ADU, and then on the corner lot, because it has access to the road, we're cutting out a 4th lot. That's also going to have a triplex on it.
So this is one of your projects personally?
It's another project, I'm doing.
And how are you financing these? Is it just land you've bought, or there's a house on it right now that you've got rented?
The one I just described, the triplex, I financed it because it had a structure on it.
So it's a bank mortgage, but you're working through the developments.
Yeah, eventually I will have to pay off that mortgage.
Yeah, so you can tear it down, right?
Yeah, so there's not so I can tear it down, really, so there's enough equity in the land so that I can get the construction mortgage. So
okay.
It's either I give money to the bank.
You apply for that mortgage and take out the bank.
Right, but the construction mortgage, they want to see 75 or 25% equity between land and cost. Okay. So if it's $500,000 for the land and $1 million to build, basically you got to have about 400-ish in cash.
Yeah.
So if you bought the land for 5, you just pay it off and be done with it. And now they'll secure the construction mortgage on the land. You don't have the stupid interest payments, and it makes the deal flow a hell of a lot better.
You just got to have that $400K kicking around, throw it down.
So back to what I was saying, going full circle, when your portfolio is big enough, you can do those kind of deals.
Yeah, you just leverage against your other
That's
Yeah.
my now money.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So if there's 500,000 equity sitting there, I'm going to buy 3 more triplexes, or do I do a deal like this, make 300 grand, and that's, that can pay for my lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
that makes a lot of sense. But how is that now money in the sense that like it's going to take you a few years to profit on one of those, right?
Yes, correct.
So medium
I
sort
just
of.
have multiple projects going on.
Yeah,
at the
so
same time.
you're constantly getting paid. So your long-term money, multiple long-term plays are all paying you.
I'm not a flipper. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything bad about flipping. It's just,
But you don't need to.
it's not my style.
You don't need to though,
Yeah.
right? Like you can get you can get real estate income from what you're selling as a salesperson, and
Yep.
and then your medium and long is all your different real estate plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just treat my real estate portfolio like it's a person. Like
Yeah.
it's got to make money
Yeah.
and save
Yeah.
for the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How'd you get into this?
How did I? Oh man, that's a long story. I mean, when I was, I grew up, not very without much money. Let's say, I wasn't really poor. I wouldn't want to make up a story like that, but we were lower middle income people. My parents were divorced, so I grew up with my grandparents. Very Italian grandparents, no English at home, kind of thing, and hardworking people, but I didn't have the kind of money mindset that you kind of need to do what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, by the time I was 18, I started reading a bunch of books that we all read, Robert Kiyosaki's and all this kind of stuff. I read probably like 300 books. And, always had it in the back of my mind that I was going to become a fireman. So when I was 21, I ended up going to a conference here in Toronto called, what the hell is it called? Millionaire Mind. Remember that book, Millionaire Mind?
Yeah, like T. Harv
Eker.
Yeah.
So I went to his conference here, and it's one of those conferences that he sells more conferences.
Yeah, I don't like that about him, but I loved the first 3-4 chapters of that book.
I love that book. Yeah, it was very good. And so I ended up buying another one of his conferences, and it was to the name of this conference was Never Work Again, about how to build passive income streams so you never have to work again. So it was in California. So I flew there to California. I was 23. And I remember at the beginning of the conference, they did this thing where they're like, everyone under 30 stand up. I'm like, okay. And then 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. And it was me and one other guy. And he said 22. And I sat down. This kid was 22. He beat me. I'm like, thank God. So they called him on stage and gave him a little award and stuff like that. So that was the kind of atmosphere, about 1,000 people all learning about income streams. So I didn't end up buying or investing in anything there. They had things about vending machines and tax liens, very American stuff.
I love that. I want to learn more about that.
But I came home with real estate, cash flow, passive income.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the hell I was going to do with that, but that's what I came home with. And I did become a fireman. I was a fireman in Toronto for 10 years. I retired or quit early, whatever you want to call it, in 2020.
Okay.
And but while I was getting hired, I was also kind of pursuing this real estate cash flow kind of thing.
So did you just become a realtor in 2020 or 2021?
No, in 2010.
So you were doing real estate the whole time. As a fireman, you have the time, right? Like I can't do a showing that day. I'm working a shift.
That's right. Yeah, I became a fireman, and then shortly after, while I remember being in college, doing the fireman school, and like my phone ringing and me going outside, and it was my mortgage broker like saying, "Hey, get me this document," because I was qualifying for my first property.
Yeah.
So by the time I got hired, I already had like 3 rental properties, and then shortly after, I ended up getting my license and started working with investors right away. I did that for 10 years. Just working with investors, growing my own portfolio, working with investors, growing my own portfolio, going to work. I have a wife, 3 kids, and then about 2019, I should say, that all kind of capitulated, and it was like way too much. It wasn't a healthy lifestyle, to be honest with you. I mean, it was good for a while. I was making good money and really getting ahead in life, but trying to be a full-time father to 3 daughters, a full-time husband, a husband who actually pays attention, let's say, working a business with having all these clients and investors who need your help to coach and mentor, then being a fireman in Toronto, where not to crap on some of the other departments where we actually do stuff, like we're busy, like we're not going there to sleep.
Yeah.
and then trying to be Paul,
Yeah.
take care of my friends and have a life. It just wasn't working. So
Yeah.
I had some health problems, stress, anxiety, all that kind of stuff, which I had to kind of work through, and eventually retired from fire. And it was hard because that was my dream job, let's call it. But it ran its course, and it was the right decision. And I didn't realize that I had a full-time career and sizable portfolio until the day I quit. I'm like, holy shit! Look, I have all this stuff. Why am I doing this? What an idiot.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's funny, sad, weird, exciting, all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that you kept it all going, but I guess as like with the shift work of being a fireman, like you have the ability to like you're only 2 days on at a time.
You were working 24-hour shifts.
Yeah.
7 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
In a 28-day cycle, so 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You work 7 24-hour shifts.
Yeah, that's relatively minimal. That's 1/4 of the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
By hours, it averages out to 42 and a half hours a week.
Right, but you're not working all the 24 hours.
It's just not 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
it's condensed, right?
I would prefer that. Like
you would. It just like you got to be careful. Just speaking from experience with balance, because like you come home from that, and you're like, oh, I'm tired today.
you didn't get to see your family for a day.
Yeah, then I go to work, and you can do that for a while when you're in your 20s, but like you not giving your body a chance to rest and recover, recharge, meditate, go in the hot tub, just chill.
Yeah,
it really takes a toll. Like,
yeah,
and the older I got, the worse it got. Like I couldn't recover anymore.
Yeah,
it was tough. But
well, yeah, when you're working those 24 hours, do you like eat like crap or like?
We're eating. Yeah, there's no shortage of food in the fire hall.
Do they feed you while you're there?
We all cook. We either bring food
or you cook,
or we head to the grocery store and make some food.
While you're working, you head to the grocery store.
Yeah, well, we're there for 24 hours. You got to eat.
Yeah.
You got to eat.
So there's enough people on that if something happens, you guys just race back and go to where you need to go.
Yeah, well, sometimes at the grocery store we get a call and
we're out of here.
It's actually faster because we're right near the truck.
Yeah. Oh, you take the truck to the grocery. Oh, okay. Well, then you're laughing.
Yeah,
you can just go straight to the fire if you need to.
Exactly.
Yeah. I got all your gear in there.
Always in the truck. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. The life of a fireman. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got some stories and have seen some shit.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, that stuff never really bothered me, honest to God. It was more trying to maintain this whole system I had created.
Yeah.
That's what really kind of knocked me down.
Yeah, and you must have had like your active real estate selling business, many clients you'd built up over the years. Not doing fire, you probably just built that up more.
Yeah, it was a scarcity thing. The more, and I had to talk to some people who. I'm not a therapy person. I don't do well with that kind of stuff. But I had to talk to people who were willing to help me, and they're like, you built that out of scarcity. Like you had all these fail-safe plans. Like, oh, if real estate doesn't work, I have a portfolio. If a portfolio doesn't work, I'm a fireman. If the fireman doesn't work, I have a pension. If this doesn't work, I have cash saving.
But I mean, it's not bad to have your bases covered.
Correct. It was just I was building that from a place of scarcity.
Yeah.
And that only works for so long, and you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So it was an important lesson. Now I'm able to kind of share that with people and in my own coaching, and everyone who says like, hey, I know what, I've been working corporate for 10, every week I hear this. I've been working in a corporate job for 10 years. I've been working in this business for God knows how long. I got to get the fuck out of here.
There's a lot of people who say that.
I need a change. Yeah. And I just immediately resonate. And as soon as I tell them a story, they're just, they comfort down.
Yeah. I feel like every one of my coaching students is the same thing. I'd like to quit my job.
Yeah.
Like I need to get out of this job. I was like, okay, let's work on a strategy that will do that.
Yeah.
Because it's possible.
Absolutely.
It's just, I'm just going to go buy 5 properties. Like it used to work. That used to be a thing 10 years ago. I'll buy 5 properties and replace my income. London, used to do that for people, depending on if you bought Old South or something, or Soho, if you know where that is. But different now. You gotta be more strategic about it, and there is a way. And a lot of times it's going to involve becoming an entrepreneur, more of an entrepreneur.
Yeah, a lot of those people that I helped, what's interesting is most of them never quit their job, and not because they failed or didn't get to where they wanted to go, but having a few properties and portfolio and cash flow and a much better financial system actually made their job much more comfortable. They
Cool.
weren't stressed about it. They weren't stressed about getting
Nice.
ahead.
So not being stressed about that stuff made their job better for them.
Yeah, because you know, a lot of these people they might make good money, but they're also spending money. I mean, Ontario's not cheap, right? We all know that. But they couldn't see themselves getting ahead in their job.
Yeah.
Now the portfolio is helping them literally invest and get ahead,
Yeah. So they
live
feel
a
like they're
better
getting
lifestyle.
ahead. Yeah.
So they don't have to quit anymore, which is it's amazing
Yeah.
to see the results.
That's a good point. I never thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense when you're not worried. Like, I need to be doing something. I need to be doing something. Oh, I am doing something, and it's working.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Anything you weren't asked that you wish you could have shared today?
No, I think we covered the basis. I mean, who's like, what's the avatar? Who's watching your show?
You know, it's hard to say. I don't even know anymore. It used to be the fanboys, fangirls, plus all of the serious long-time real estate investors. What I've noticed is that there's a time that people listen to my show, and sometimes they graduate from it for a time. They'll come back and catch the odd episode. But so we'll have a mix of extremely active investors, newer investors that are a little bit more serious these days. So the ones that are still on board, they're a lot more serious about finding a way to change their life.
Yeah, so I think the message is loud and clear then. Like if you're just getting started, you know, you need to be around people who can help you. And listening to podcasts like this and, you know, getting Andrew's help is fantastic. But you get yourself out there, listen to some, and not that I'm, you know, trying to get people away from you, but listen to some other podcasts, you know, get a feel out there. There's good people around who want to help you. And it's important to expose yourself to as many different strategies and tactics that help you, that can help you get to your goal faster. And if you don't know why you're investing and what you're trying to accomplish, like, you better get some help. You know, talk to Andrew, get a mentor, and that's what's going to help you. And for those of you who are experienced, keep doing what you're doing, because we need you. I know you're vilified out there, but I got your back.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the big bad landlords, but no, they're definitely serving a purpose out there. So, all right, man, where do people find you and reach you?
Yeah, you can, social is easier, I think, for most people nowadays, mostly on Instagram, Paul_expert_investor academy, or my website, expertinvestoracademy.com, Paul@expertinvestoracademy.com for email. And happy to help you if you need anything, if you need some advice on where to go forward. We're here for that. We do some coaching and mentoring, not for everyone, because, you know, we're not a coaching and mentoring business. It's not what we do. But given you know, how this business works and how much help people need, we do that for some people. And you know, if you're out there in this Southern Ontario area and you need help acquiring properties or selling them, and they're investor focused, we got your back. We've been doing this for a long time. We've done hundreds and hundreds of transactions, and we can help.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks for coming over today, and we'll make sure to include your contact info in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right.
Infinite banking in under 60 seconds. We've all got to save our money somewhere, and we think that a high cash value life insurance policy is the perfect place to save it. Why? We're going to save our money inside this policy, and it's going to grow tax-free. Down the road, we're going to get hit with an emergency or an opportunity, maybe a chance to buy a business, real estate property, an income producing asset. And instead of withdrawing from our savings account, we're going to leverage that asset. We're going to borrow the insurance company's money, and we're going to invest in that opportunity. Our money is still inside of that policy, compounding, uninterrupted, tax-free, and our money's outside in this investment opportunity. We're going to rinse and repeat, all while providing a death benefit for our families. Down the road, we're going to retire. Now we retire with a high cash value life insurance policy with a lot of cash. We're going to start taking those policy loans again, but this time we're never going to pay them back. When I say never, I mean we're going to pay them back with the death benefit when we die, and our families are going to get left with the rest completely tax-free.